Hello, hello. No music today. I don't know why. Hope everybody's well. If anybody wants a mic, please request it. Hope everybody's doing well today. We've got decent weather here in Colorado. Finally, had an awful snowstorm. Trees uprooted. Awful. Now the sun is shining. Amen. Just give everybody a few minutes to come in. Hello, Lala. How are you?
You?
Chilling like Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and I'm chilling. It's chilly. Yeah.
Are you cold? Are you
Uh,
in the East Coast?
yeah. Upstate New York. Yeah,
New
it's
York, New
pretty.
York. I'm moving back east. I'm moving back East Coast. I've had it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like it
No,
here.
I have a
Not my
friend
cup
that
of
moved
tea.
there. No.
Uh, where? Colorado?
Yeah, she did.
She
She
likes
just
it?
up and she just
I
up
hate
and
it.
left. I haven't heard from her, so I don't
Oh,
know.
no. You don't hear from me. I'm where she is. Hey, John. That's terrible. I hope you hear from her. Hey, John, how you doing? Hey, Joe.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. We're talking weather. East Coast. What coast is this? Colorado. It's like no man's land. Middle middle of the
You're
country.
not you're not on the coast, are you?
Yeah, clearly
Yeah,
not.
you're that's like that's mountain time, right?
Yes, I hate it. If you Google Italian food, Olive Garden shows up. All right, for an Italian, that is insulting. Olive Garden. Gotta be kidding.
You're making me laugh.
It made me cry when I saw it. And then what was the other thing that came up? Domino's. It was like number two. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Can't. I can't.
For Italian food, Domino's came up. Oh my god.
First Olive Garden and then Domino's. Yeah. So yes, we have to cook our own Italiano. It's bad.
So are you
Well,
Italian or Sicilian?
No, I'm Italian. We're from the top of the boot, and the top of the boot hates the bottom of the boot. Yeah, Lombard. That's why I almost called Mott Trump, but that's why Mott calls me a Viking because that's where the Vikings were from. So I'm told. My grandmother also said Cherokee, but we think she was making that up. Everybody, grandma says you got a little Cherokee in you. I don't think so.
so Tish, I had to make this phone call today. I got a letter from oh, hold on. And I was really nervous about calling it. I don't know if anybody received the letter as well from Gavin Newsom. Okay, Department of
What?
Healthcare. Yeah. So I got this letter from the investigation division, and I'm waiting. Like, if somebody stole your identity, would you call to verify your identity? It's like, what is happening here? I'm not from California. Oh, they're calling me back now.
That's
Let me
strange.
take a call.
Yeah, take it, but don't give them any information. Nothing. Not even your name. I got shysted once. I'm telling you. They blue screened my computer, called and said the number was on the screen. So I'm thinking it's Apple. I call the number, $900, send them the money, and it was a complete hoax. But they did fix the computer, but it was not Apple. And then they tried it the next year and they're like, you must have a blue screen. I was fixing a doorknob. I said, no, I got you. I'm not even near the, I'm not even near my computer. It's off. Yeah, they'll keep trying too. Hey, Zan.
Oh my gosh, Dish.
Yeah, this is probably 20 years ago when I did that. I blue screened and I didn't know what to do. And then there was a number scrolling at the bottom. So I was like, oh, it's got to be Apple, right? I mean, I got all the money back. Gotta be careful, especially nowadays. John's like, oh my God, I can't believe you gave them $100.
So
I
we
bet,
got confirmation. Kennedy is going to be Secretary of HHS.
is that confirmed?
Yep.
I am not really very happy with Marco Rubio. Is anybody else like kind of upset about this? Because Marco Rubio is all about sending money to Ukraine. I'm not thrilled with that pick at all. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. They got to follow Trump's, you know, I guess what he says. I would assume. I hope he does the right thing.
Well, at this point, I think it's literally going to be front and center. The remaining swamp rats.
Yes. No, they sure will be front and center and on display. Hey, Guru, conservative, Lucifer, Irene, Carol, how are you? How you been, honey? Carol, are you there? Can you hear me? Secretary, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Hey
I was
guys.
talking to you. I
Okay,
thought maybe you
sorry.
couldn't hear me. No, you're fine. What up, Guru? Hey, Jeannie. I won't give up who you are, but I know exactly who you are. I tried again, Guru. It looks like you were trying, but it just didn't go through.
Hello. How is everyone?
Good, how are you?
Living the dream. Living the dream. What was living the
Living the
dream now?
dream.
Living the dream even more now we won the presidency. Come on. Well done, guys. We done it.
Yes. I mean, they can't even say the popular vote thing because we got that. They can't use the popular vote narrative because we won that too. So there's that. Let them try. And they'll try, but they will not be successful. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Peter. I'm kind of throwing out mics. If you can't take it, don't feel like you need to take it. I found this. I found this show where they like clean these massively horrific houses, and it's just so satisfying to watch them gut them. I got addicted. I've been watching them over and over. Yeah, like just the. I don't know how people live in these houses. I mean, it's like next level. Like I would just burn it probably, but no, they gut them. I've been watching them for 3 days straight. Hey, Matt, there you are.
If everybody could please repost and quote post the space, we'd appreciate it. Co-posting helps a lot with the algorithm because each of us could then reshare it as well.
Boys and girls, 3-letter agencies, 4-letter agencies, 5-letter agencies, and Mr. Vance. Welcome to the space. I hope you are enjoying yourself. Sorry for being late. Oh, guys, Axel. So this is going to be, well, a little bit exciting. Let's see if my voice will bear with us this evening. It's worn out. It's on a union strike, you could say, meaningless, but nevertheless, it's a little bit, well, worn out as an old shoe. Mr. Matthews, everything okay with you, sir?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Things are looking up. We were just talking about Kennedy being the pick for HHS before you popped in, so that's been confirmed.
Yeah, the ticket called out September last year, 2023. You know, Bombadil has his little birds running around. They are not Hugin and Mumin, they're the ravens of Odin. And they are not Ratatosk. Oh, poor Peanut. I think Peanut is
Oh,
was
Peanut.
yeah, Ratatosk. Very important. Very, very important. Ratatosk was the squirrel running up and down the tree, the world tree, the world actually of Yggdrasil in the Nordic mythology. He was a squirrel. He was running up and down and carrying information from the top to the bottom and up again. Very important. The informational control by Ratatosk, aka Peanut. So they did a hit job on him, and his good friend and bodyguard, Fred, he suffered the ultimate consequence of trying to protect the informational carrier. And Fred was a raccoon, just as our friend in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Nessun Dorma. I think we have seen that video a couple of times. Well, it's just a coincidence as per usual, but anyway, you know, you stack all these coincidences on top of each other and you end up being quite bored by the gatekeeper orcs. And those are plenty. We are going after those now. We are trying our best. But as we heard, as we said, the amount of suppression, the amount of shadow banning is, well, it's kind of strange. But so hopefully no technical problems today. Axel Oxenstierna, creator the creature behind the world's first bank. Well, he's not. Well, he's a creature, secretary. Yeah, he is of a certain kind. Maybe not even human. So why are we doing Axel Oxenstierna now when everything is done, settled, over with? We are on the home stretch, eating popcorn, watching the movie, or whatever, because it has only just started. So to understand why Peanuts was executed by the deep state, we need to understand the thinking of Axel Oxenstierna. And Axel Oxenstierna, he carried with him a book that you could say was his Bible. And that was a book by Niccolo Machiavelli. That was his instruction book. So he spoke Latin. As you remember, I told you about when he had sort of conquered Europe. Well, not himself, he was, but, with mercenaries and a developed, drafted army, but a professional one, not the infantile infantry. This was the hardcore infantry with the lightweight cannons that will form the foundation for the military industrial complex. And of course, his intelligence service had to work. He had to have information. He had to be in control of the logistics of the manufacturing and everything. Otherwise, a very small country can't conquer and stay in control. The main part is stay in control. Quite a few critical countries where the waterways were, and so on and so forth. As per usual, we know that the Vikings did it, and I think he knew quite a bit about Ratatosk, of Yggdrasil, of the mythology, which is an amazing mythology. And when he put Machiavelli's instruction book, it is a quite thin book, actually. It's not really big. It's just a very very boring book, you could say. No, not boring. It's very exciting, but it is an instruction book of how humanity works, actually, in the different shapes, levels, and contexts that were in the reality in the 17th century when all of this happened. So the formation of the military industrial complex, keeping Europe, forcing a peace treaty, which we will see. I think now when Ukraine is, going to be forced into a peace treaty, I think it will be something similar. I think the ones that are gonna enforce the peace treaty, I think they have read their Oxenstierna. I think they knew Oxenstierna who he was, how he did it. So we are seeing the pyramid shifting, going the other way around. So Project Ukraine is going. It's a terrible situation there right now. If you don't know it, it's lots of people dying for nothing all over. All fronts in Ukraine is a well, it's soon gonna be over, but the numbers are not fun right now. And at this moment in time, our European so-called leaders are just fucking up. They are scared to death. They are running around with panic in their eyes. Of course, as you know, the media trained puppets they are, with the right personality preferences, maps, they can handle it almost, but not anymore. Not really anymore. So they know what is coming down the road. This will take a while, but now we're gonna play. We're not gonna play. We're gonna enforce with emphasize the truth upon the public. This is the only way to do it now. We are past the moment when the identification of the thin foil hat and those fooled by conspirations. They are seeing themselves blurry, but still they are seeing themselves in the mirror. So the tinfoil hat, my dear friends, is not sitting on you because you are here. You are not the ones carrying the tinfoil hat. You've never been. That is projection by the gatekeeper orcs. We know that Alan Dulles enforced the word of conspiration theory or theories as a shield. That is projection. When the two conspirators are conspiring, they will use the method of projection. However, when it's false, when it's projection, it doesn't really bite. It bites on people that are scared, in anxiety, not informed. It bites. It doesn't bite on people that have a small amount of critical thinking. It doesn't bite. It doesn't work. So now the tables are turned. The hunters are becoming the hunted. We see Nordic mass flight from the X platform. Institutions, newspapers, lots of people. They are running to the Azov bunker, to blue sky, the Nazi nest, I would call it, or whatever. We can call it whatever. To the echo chamber. It is interesting. This one is going here. The Nordics are now not dragging their feet after the US and so you need to pay attention. The Nordics, or the NB8 coalition, is now the second largest provider of arms and money for Ukraine after the US. So when the US steps down, which it will, even if they are trying to blackmail DGT and his administration, the Ukraine project is over. They are now again, Tish, again threatening with, if they don't get more help, more arms, more money, more whatever, with nuclear weapons. Ukraine is doing this. They say if the US pulls the plug, they will use a fat boy size Hiroshima nuclear weapon. They just forgot to say Lise Meitner, but otherwise,
do they have one? Do they have a nuclear?
They for sure have the capability to make one. The Chernobyl accident, the ones providing, of course, because those reactors were quite old. The only ones that were providing the hexagonal shaped uranium, for those, the only ones that could manufacture those specifics and the parts inside the Chernobyl were ABB Atom. So we are back to the common denominator again. There's a lot of questions about that Chernobyl thing, what really happened, what really took place, but that is in Ukraine. So it's but that's another. That's for another. Yes, they have the capability, and their think tanks. Zelensky said it straight out the other day, and then he walked it back. And now the think tank around him, or whatever, is providing the same information again, but now much more specific. With fat man, and talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki and so on and so forth. The wording is, of course, as always, important. So a lot of things happening. So it's blackmail. It is a true tactic, a scare tactic within a relationship. You can easily convert it to a relationship between between you and a partner, if you think about it. So it's pretty basic stuff. So and you will find stuff like that in the instruction book of how to, in the doctrines. So when Oxenstierna walks up to Richelieu outside Paris, more or less having entered the scene, this is the only time Richelieu actually goes out to meet somebody. So this is the powers that were 1635. The German nobility were running after the carriage, just to show. They were running after the carriage, which transported Mr. Oxenstierna. He never had a title. Well, he had a title, but no big titles. He was just sort of the advisor to the king. That was his title. So a grey bureaucrat, advisor. Well, he was not grey, he was a rock star. But the funny thing is that this rock star is the one that forms the Greys of Delaware, that have been lurking in the shadows all the time. Since the days of New Sweden, Fort Christina, today Delaware, Wilmington. They've been lurking there all the time. Delaware, the first state, they've been biding, not Biden, even if Biden has his office at the House of Sweden, Washington, D.C. Both Bidens, both Hunter and Joe, and apartments, where you could spend the night with, weekly worker apartments, small apartments there for people traveling and so on. So Joe and Hunter had their offices in House of Sweden for quite a long time. It doesn't really make the case more obvious than Joe were involved in getting Raoul Wallenberg to be the second honorary citizen.
Mott, I think we lost you. You're rubber banding.
Yeah, pretty bad. Try again, Mont.
We should do a reiteration of Major Tom. That should be our next one.
Yes. I'm throwing mics at Mont. I don't know if he's getting them. Ground control to Major Tom.
To Major Mott, ground control.
It was the moment you said there was no problems. They heard it.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, while we have this brief intermission, thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon, morning, evening from the United States of America, and Mordor. Please repost, reshare the space. Bring your smiling faces upon us. If you have anything to add, contribute to the discussion, please do.
And Mark is back.
Yay! Where did you lose me? They just dropped me. They took me away. Oh, these.
I did that. I did it because you're rubber banding.
Okay, so I'm rubber banding, sitting on very fine broadband in the high-tech country of the world. The ones listening in, the ones that downloaded your information. That was all Snowden was about. The Swedish kings of cyber war, the ones that hold, or at least held, the informational control. The NSA were doing personal preference maps of all US citizens on social media, what they mailed, what they said, what they did, through Sweden, Mordor. Oh, what a coincidence, isn't it? Where did you lose me? I got to Biden, did I?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so quick recap. Johan Hunter have their offices at the House of Sweden, Washington, D.C., which is the embassy. So they are actually on, protected territory as well. Young Joe Biden in 81, actually prior to that, he was actually in the room with the Soviets trying to talk about Raoul Wallenberg, which he will make the second honorary citizen of the United States of America. So the coincidences, they just stack themselves on top of each other. Boom, 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 boom. And it all goes back to Sweden. And all the major accounts, all of them, 100, well, nowadays 99.99. There are a couple that actually are, touching the subject, are ignoring everything that is above Soros, above Obama, above the World Economic Forum, above the 3-letter agencies, the 4-letter agencies, the Mossad, Israel. They are ignoring it. They will never go there because they are so either paid or blackmailed or whatever, that they do not realize that they are being probably thrown under the bus by their old masters. Probably. I don't know.
So Matt, real quick, so the the intelligence sectors you're highlighting, this is part of the what's known as the Five Eyes network, but what else? So you mentioned the NSA. There are other sectors also which are similar throughout the world as well. I believe one is in Scotland. Is that correct?
Yeah, they are all over the place. Yeah, Scotland is more telecoms. Again, the internet, the net. It's a hub of. They actually have in Scotland and Ireland. They have quite good communities with internet developers and so on and so forth. And of course, they have their part of it. You have, of course, the MI5, MI6 in the UK. You have the signal surveillance out of New Zealand. You have the same in Australia, plus other secret. The Australian Secret Service is never talked about, but that's quite a large operation as well. Australia is a big country and it's very, very important with the geographical position. So there are zero intelligence services that can handle their everyday business without the telecoms and the internet. And who's the kings behind those two? Well, then you are back to, well, let's say that we have a change. And actually a Nobel Prize winner, a Nobel Prize laureate, a merchant of death receiver. Al Gore is actually involved. You know, the climate hoax. Al Gore, everybody knows Al Gore. He's like that's a creepy one, isn't it? A really creepy one. So in 91, when he releases what he calls the super highway of information, then you have, prior to that, you have the very beginning, just very quickly, you have the ARPA net, which will include the US Army, USA, Norway, and United Kingdom. That's sort of the beginning of the internet. Norway, can you imagine? This is a little country with fishermen and, a few NATO soldiers. It's a tiny, tiny little country just hanging on the side of Sweden. Maybe 5 now, 4.5 million, something like that, 5 million citizens. This is a tiny, tiny little country. Why are they the first ones to hook up with the US? Could you imagine? This is a little bit strange, isn't it? So back in 74, and Norway is Sweden in this case. This is the same with Elon going for Norway. And, this is the according to me, when Elon went and said, the Norwegian media is just, they were doing their usual thing, same style as Sweden, even not at the level of the Swedes. But people in Norway actually, and this is of course fake news, but it's still real news, if you understand what I'm saying. They called the emergency services because they were so scared when Trump won the election. They had to open up emergency phone lines for people to call to. Can you imagine that, John? Can you even imagine that? Of course, it is an exaggerated story, but nevertheless, it's quite true. Peter, hot mic.
Sorry.
No problems, sir. You are playing beautiful music in the background, so it's okay. So can you imagine that? I mean, so now they are going. They all have like Trump Tourette. They have Tourette syndrome. The population have it. Not only the media. They've been hammering for 8 years. Orange man bad. Rapist. Russia. Of course, the Russia is easy to sell. What they not are telling is that actually the Russians liberated Norway as well, up north, where the Germans were, making havoc. The Germans occupied Norway, and then we are down to this with the heavy water, the small manufacturing of heavy water, and Norwegian Hydro, Norsk Hydro, in Raukan. These epic Hollywood movies, the heroes of the Telemark. special ops, skiing and dropping down by air and blowing up the heavy water manufacturing so that the big bad Nazis couldn't manufacture the nuclear bomb. Inside those facilities where you have the heavy water manufacturing, there was standing equipment from Klaus Schwab's father. Now, do you? I mean, what's the odds? How could it be a coincidence? This is when Axel Oxenstierna's heritage, and we are not even getting into the monetary yet. Let's take the nukes first. So we have the ARPANET, which will be the DARPANET. In the very beginning, it's connected. In 1974, the Swedish military were connecting, or maybe even running things. The history is always hidden, just as with, or partially hidden. So from 1974, the data packages, the patents for those, the way of how to transmit inside the internet were on the go. And the first countries were, of course, Norway, Sweden, and the US. I mean, come on. It should be quite obvious. What is the reason for the big ass world police, big US with the largest army, the largest everything? Why would they connect with these two small, tiny little countries that don't even have it? They don't have any military force of a size, or they don't have anything actually in comparison. So what is the reason? Why? The why question should be there. What is the reason in the early days? What is the beginning? So after our Merchant of Death Prize winner, Al Gore, releases The Beast in 1991, then we start to do the internet thing and connecting it to the telecoms, interconnecting those two informational control tools, the most powerful informational control tools ever created. But as I said many times, it is a two-edged sword. Or maybe it was intentional already back then. Maybe it was intentional. Somebody said, we need this internet, we need to get it to the public so they can connect, so they can grab information, comprehend information, and put the pressure on the swamp, on the cabal, on the corrupted sub-oligarchs, sub-oligarchs, on the gatekeepers, on the bought, paid, and activist media, which is now falling apart. They are in total denial right now. The mainstream media. I've even heard rumors that maybe it's a fake one, but Elon is like, yeah, I'm gonna buy MSNBC just because I can. I don't know. What, have you heard anything about that, John?
Yeah, CNN actually.
And of course, behind all this mainstream media, the technology, the broadcast, it's Red Bee Media, formerly known as Ericsson Broadcast. That it's all, well, not all, but 349, 353, well, 400 of the main TV channels worldwide is running on their technology. They have the magic wand. They can change things with their AI, which is the WASP, in real time. So what comes out of the mouth of somebody being live interviewed doesn't have to be what they are saying. They can change it in real time. So we can't believe anything we see, but we can believe history. We can believe the facts, the big facts. And one of the big facts is that if the Swedes had to, they probably had bombed somebody with a nuclear weapon themselves. Now they didn't have to do that. They used the US again and again and again to do their bidding, and have done so for a long time. The 1776, of course, was a bit of a problem. The East India Company took a hit. However, the Grace of Delaware, where all the corporations already back then were sort of forming, they sat back. They had a time. They were in no rush. They knew the marching orders. They knew what to, with the central banking. The central banks were already in place, at least the two first ones. The OG, the Axel Oxenstierna Central Bank, out of Mordor, aka Stockholm, Sweden, of 1668. The second one is the Bank of England in the city of London, created by a Swede, by a Viking. Well, a Nordic. Well, the borders has moved around a little bit, but what, with one of the Vikings. So it's the Viking crown up until, in straight bloodline, up until Elizabeth I grants the powers behind. So Elizabeth and her liaisons, they had a plan. They always work together. So she releases the East India Company the year of 1600, and at the same point in time, Axel Oxenstierna goes for the rest of the Europe, and they have good trade deals and so on and so forth. Forth and back. They knew that they have to dismantle the current power, meaning the Hansa cities in Europe. So they do so. So in 1666, the Hansa is over. They burn their last outpost, their last big warehouses and offices and so on in London to the ground in 1666. And then 1668, the world's first real central bank is forming. The Dutch are there in their proximity with their banking, but they are not the ones holding the concept for it. So you could claim that the Dutch are involved, and yes, they are in the East India Company, for sure. They are. They are the chip designers and the banksters behind the East India Company. It's a joint venture. It's the forming of the military industrial complex as we know it. And of course, Amsterdam, with its location and so on. It's a quite important city, and today with the harbors and so on and the logistics, and it's very important still as of today. So the Grace of Delaware are sitting, the baton keepers from Axel Oxenstierna. They are waiting after the 1776. They are watching, pulling some strings, and we have banking chaos, the chaotic banking from 76 up to 1913, you could say. It is a mess in the US. It reshapes on the private side of banking. It reshapes itself after that the true baton keepers, the André Oscar, the happy 22, the father of 22 happy children. Well, I don't know how happy they were, but at least that. He studies the American banking history, and he also actually studied the Scottish banking history, which is quite interesting. And he reshapes this. He creates the hidden Ponzi scheme of modern banking. And this is in when the kickoff of this is 1856. So he has it in his hand, the concept. People are buying into it. You don't need to have big efforts to keep it up and running. The strange thing is that just a few years later, as of 1871, the Constitution is hijacked and the banking system is yet again reshaped, but now in the years prior to the 71, it is actually stabilizing itself. This is something the US banking. So the same, as soon as the Constitution is hijacked, they simply delete the East India Company. It just goes up in smoke, more not overnight, but over a very short period of time. It just poof, gone, as it never existed. So that is a central piece of this, and things are stable. The banking sector grows in the US together with the industrialization phase. And then the industrialization phase needs a boost. We also need to have some other things in place. We need to have the Fed. We need to have the First World War. And the Delaware Grays is sitting back, looking at this. Biden, biding their time. They are in no hurry. All the companies are already collected inside their law. Now, the First World War, the project is up and running because you need to have the First World War to have the League of Nations, and foremost, you need to have the Bank for International Settlements. At this point in time, when the First World War comes to an end, there are 20 or so central banks in the world. 23, I think is the number. 23. Think about it. And then suddenly they will be everywhere, and all of them will be under the control of the Bank for International Settlements. That includes the Fed. It includes the Fed The Fed is not running on its own, even if the Bank for International Settlements comes after on the timeline, because otherwise it had been too obvious, I would say. So the Bank for International Settlements, the central banks of central banks in Switzerland, 1929. Per Jakobsson, a grey. He's not a Delaware grey, but he's one of the Stockholm bureaucracy greys, running it from the beginning on the behalf of the Wallenbergs, creating the concept of pyramid, the Ponzi scheme pyramid game of modern private banking. And there's so many aspects of this. So the legacy of Oxenstierna here is that besides being a master in strategical thinking, planning, warfare, and of course making treaties. So his treaty, I'm saying his because it is his. It is the one that turns Europe in a total different direction, and this is in 1648, the Peace Treaty of Westphalia. This is when the national states are being introduced. There are no national states before that. People didn't even know how to be nationalistic. They didn't have a clue because there were no nations. There were none. They didn't exist as a concept. We had countries, we had kingdoms, but we didn't have nation. We didn't have national states before that. The concept is new. That is Oxenstierna. He's not alone, of course, in this. The oligarchy and so on is, of course, into this. They have discovered very good means to control the peasants, the chattel, the soldiers, the infantile infantry. So when we look at all of this, and then we go back to Delaware again. So how come is Delaware the first state that forms a state? Why is that? Yeah, that is because of the Stockholm bureaucracy put there by Axel Oxenstierna. Full stop. That's end of the story. Of course they are first because they want to set the model. And now, some about 400 years later, you could say, because this is shaping in the 1700th century, so in the mid. So now you have a Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which this is quite fun actually. I mean, Elon is sometimes he's really fun as well, but I telling you that you have. I can't remember. One of his staffers said, "Yeah, we just go on a social security number. Even number goes, odd number stays, or vice versa. We can just fire everybody." And he's probably right. This is the thing. If you have noticed this, and I'm gonna say it again, you have Joe Biden, formerly known as office keeper in the House of Sweden, Washington, D.C., the beneficiary of Raoul Wallenberg being the secondary honorary citizen of the U.S., running the U.S. from the beach. I wonder if we have some statistics, but he has been working like 15% of his time, maybe 20. He's been on the beach. You have seen pictures of him every second day. He's on the beach. And the country is just running itself. It just runs. That is Stockholm bureaucracy. That is the grace of Delaware and their subordinate grace, which is the evil government. Everybody knows their place. Everybody knows what to do. And I can tell you it's not at that point in time. Well, Biden is a special case, but prior to Biden, during the Obama, it's not him or the Senate or the Congress or whatever that is giving the orders of what they're doing. They can say to them, do this, do that, do this, do that. And the grace will say, yes, sir, Senator, yes, sir, Congressman, we will implement your law. We will just tweak it a little bit. We will just add a little bit. We will just retract a little bit. We will just implement it as we have been learned, as we have been told. The bureaucracy is the true controller of the United States of America. And that goes for the bureaucracy inside the Pentagon. The talking heads, the senators, the congressmen, these have had, up until now, absolutely zero importance. They don't call the shots. That is just theater. Even the lobbyism is theater, just to make it, just to make a show out of it. It is there because it was needed in a certain point of time when the Dulles brothers' grandfather implemented it. Then it was necessary. This goes hand in hand with the Bank for International Settlements. This is the lockstep timing on introducing the lobbyism to make sure that honest, straightforward patriots, God-fearing, good people that were in the government at that point in time. But still the banking system was, overruling, because the banking system in the US were living its own life. And it did it through Delaware, of course, since all the major corporations are in Delaware. So the legacy of Oxenstierna, the Stockholm bureaucracy, creating the Stockholm syndrome. You have like 50% of the American people suffering from severe Stockholm syndrome. And believe me, here, where we actually have Stockholm and Oxenstierna, it's been going on like 1,000 years longer. So imagine that it's actually people were calling the phone when Trump won. They are screaming straight out. They are so indoctrinated. It is almost impossible to describe it. Of course, you have some few, but in the US, it's like it's a small percentage. It's a small compared to. Nevertheless, we are where we are. We are living in the legacy of Axel Oxenstierna, the true rock star of central banking. So anybody that tries to tell you something else, anybody that tries to tell you that, the Manhattan Project invented a nuclear weapon and so on, no, they were fed what they were fed, not as in the Fed, but they were fed what they needed from the Nordics, from Sweden. The heavy water, everything. The the pure fact that the Oppenheimer movie and the Lisa Meitner movie are coming out as, bad, damage reduction, trying to hide, not telling half the story, so that at least somebody could say, well, we told you about Lisa Meitner, that she existed. They don't tell you that she, in the movie, they don't tell you that she goes on tour in the US, meeting all her old colleagues from the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, all the Nobel Prize laureates, her co-scientists that were working with the nuclear bomb. She went on tour in the US after she provided this. The movie, she's living all alone in Sweden for no reason, and she has no contact with anybody in Sweden. She just is in Sweden, according to the movie. She just happened to be in Sweden. She doesn't go to Niels Bohr, and it's just silly. And she finds everything out when she's out walking in the forest. She suddenly discovers how to make a nuclear device go boom. No, she was sitting at Ljungaverk at the phosphate factory of Wallenbergs, having a big research lab. Come on. And heavy water that was needed to do the research and do everything. No, she was walking like a happy Bombadil out in the forest, and suddenly she recognized, this is how I made the atom bomb. Fuck it. It's just so silly. You have to be really, really retarded to buy into that. And she goes and meets her old pals from Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, Einstein and all of them. They were working, and she had the same. The other colleagues were working on the Nazi side on the nuclear weapon. So imagine that somebody is playing both sides here. Maybe somebody has done that in all wars that you ever can think about. So the question I usually ask, why was Bank for International Settlements in Switzerland? Well, Switzerland, they actually were neutral. They have actually signed after the Napoleon Wars. They signed off to be neutral. They didn't have a standing army, nothing. They had just a little small, to take care of domestic things. So they signed the paperwork after the Napoleon Wars. Sweden didn't sign, but they sort of said, yeah, but we are friendly with the Switzerland, so we are, we consider ourselves neutral, but we will not sign the papers. So they never signed the paperwork. So they never went into neutral. They were just, promoting themselves, propagandized, and played both sides of every war after that, and that was 1814. Both sides every war, selling weapons and or raw materials, making business with both sides. Every war. And the Second World War, it's obvious. One of the brothers is they were making the ball bearings, which is very critical in Sweden, of course, sending them to Germany. Even the German subs were docking in Sweden, loading up the ball bearings and going to the Japanese with them, with submarines, to make sure that they were, delivered. And one of the most intriguing stories in this is that actually the Swedish ball bearing factory, the SKF, they were having manufacturing facilities in the US, making ball bearings, packaging them, fake package them to American IG, of course, American IG, as IG Farben, Swedish IG, the camps, the IG Farben, the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, the Third Reich project thing. and of course with the usual suspects, including Morgan and the whole bunch. You have to read the article. Many people involved, Warburgs, of course, and the Wallenbergs. Well, they were not in American IG, but of course, you never see them like that. And the Allied bankers. So they were manufacturing the ball bearings and making fake shipping documents and sending them to Germany, to the Nazis. So the Nazis were running on Ford engines, American-made ball bearings, and killing American young people. This is business. This is business only. Just as with the camps. So usually what I say, I cannot find anything more. And of course, I don't like the word anti-Semitic because it's just, it's like conspiracy, it's like tinfoil hat or conspiracy theory. Sorry. But when people talk to me about that, I say I cannot find anything more anti-Semitic than planning, financing, building, and controlling the camps. I cannot find anything more anti-Semitic than that. Can you?
Matt, real quick. So, and the anti-Semitism respect, this is like, so back in JFK when the conspiracy theorist term was coined, it's the same thing, but we have to look at the deep, so we hear about the cabal, right? So there's this Kabbalistic sort of deep-rooted element enshrined in Israel, quite frankly, but it was coined there essentially. This was I mean, in collaboration also with the Mossad, so the Israeli intelligence.
It started way earlier, John, but the explosion of it will come as you say. But it started earlier. It was coined a long time before that. I would say Otto Warburg, just to have a guess. Who's So it's a shield, John. It's a shield. It's a shield. They are using the use as a shield. The true oligarchy is using the use as a shield. Rothschild. That's a shield. They even call themselves that.
And that's all part of the mental mind games, the information warfare. I mean, you were speaking to back in the 70s. That was so 74. I think you referenced, but I mean that time was so crucial as far as information and the inception point of a lot of what we're seeing now play out. I mean, so with the ARPANET and DARPA and all of these technologies that are used in computer systems. Computer systems, essentially control the technology based on the corporate state, right? It's all enterprise systems, and it's controlled by disseminating information and pushing it out using these AI programs. So you brought up WASP. That's a prime example of how they use technology in Sweden. In collaboration, we've seen partnerships with WASP and ChatGPT-4, and how that's playing out. And the thing is, it's like,
and the military applications, and this is the good part of it. Space Force is running on it, and Space Force is created for one purpose only.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a collaboration with WASP AI, the U.S. Air Force, and they did this for their drone, and they literally called the drone the WASP.
Yeah. So it's you know, all the core technology. Some of it goes to the BAE systems and so on. So this part of the military, the high tech side of the military industrial complex, it all goes to. Well, it doesn't have to be Sweden, but you know, the Wallenberg Empire is global. So it is global. 184 countries, they are running the telecoms, and 150 countries, they have the magic wand for the power grids and the control over the current, and of course the currency through their banking system, and they own and control Nasdaq. They own the platform that the 150 other stock markets, the big stock markets, are running on as well, and including the FX market. All the core technology running, the global finances are running on their patented technology, or straight up, when it comes to the Nasdaq, they have never let it go. Sometimes they are, you know, if we look at other companies and so on, they are happy to control it. They have never been, you know, they don't want to own things. They just want to control them, to drive things the way that their path were set by Oxenstierna once in a time. But you know, things have changed, of course. This is long time ago, but just a few. Well, now it's like a month ago, maybe a month and a couple of weeks. The Swedish PM, the Prime Minister, were finishing up important and large press conference by screaming almost with, you know, out of context on a question regarding security policies and so on. Axel Oxenstierna still rules, and then the press conference ends. And I'm not lying to you. This is a fact, and this is quite strange. It is almost fiction. It's like you are looking at, you know, a bad B movie, as a BC class tomato movie, whatever you call it. A really bad movie. But it happened, and just a few people will react to that. But this is 2024, and the Prime Minister, that should be the top dog, is just screaming it straight out. And talking about top dogs and our gatekeepers that always, you know, Soros, Russia, WEF, Klaus Schwab, Gates. Well, Gates is, you know, 100% the product out of Sweden. He has the thing that makes him, you know, the optics of being a doctor. He was handed a doctor's hat degree from the Karolinska University Hospital, Medical University in Sweden. He was just handed it. Here you go. And of course his company, you know, what would they be without the core technology from the patented technology from the Ericsson company, from the Wallenberg sphere? It would be nothing. It would be nothing, actually. So, and of course the stock market where he runs his stocks. Look at all of this, and look at the Alibaba, you know, all this kind of the China technology, you know, the surveillance and all of this stuff you hear people talk about, Tenet and the stuff in China. That's their stuff. That's their stuff as well. It's the common denominator. Maybe it's not Axel. I don't know. He knew how to handle people back in his day. I mean, we had this question the other day. Do you remember, Jan, on the space? The the question was the most important invention and as useful for the oligarchy or for those. And I said immediately, and I will not change this, the printing press.
I know that was the most shocking answer I've ever heard, and I was actually talking to HBO about this, and I was like, Mott brought that up, and I had to step back and think about it for a minute because I was like, holy crap, he's right. I mean, it was the key root of all of the misinformation campaigns.
Yeah. So, and the natural thing coming out from the printing press is, of course, the central banking. So Oxenstierna just did a logical step. He just had to get the East India Company up and running, to expand. It is Viking 2.0. It is. It's the same modus operandi, straight off. And also creating this kind of loyalty and so on. It's individuals that are doing this. And look at the Ivory League. Look at the universities. The tech side of it have not been so badly hit, indoctrinated, and so on, but they are kept out of the knowledge of how things work. They should just do tech, rockets, bridges, trains, cars, whatever. Do not do anything else. Do not think. Use your brain only to do rocket engine part number 55, 66, 33. That's what you do your whole life. Just a part of a rocket engine, whatever. Then you get really good at doing that. That was the sort of the Japanese culture within the automotive industry. You started out as a running boy on let's say on the steering wheel department for the car manufacturer, and if you did good, you went to be an engineer. You could do some drawings, whatever. Maybe you could do some testing, and then you could be a boss on the steering wheel department 35 years later. But you get really fucking good at doing steering wheels, but you don't know anything else. So it's like they adopted that philosophy straight out. That was their key to the quality of the Japanese cars, the Kaizen and all of this. So they closed off everything else for the engineers. It doesn't look like that today, but still it's there, so to speak. So, but look at the Ivory League, the ones that have the right personal preference maps. They are logged, they are taken care of, they are put in the fast lane, they are protected, and they will be the ones that will be put in position to do the bidding of the central banking oligarchy and the corporates, of course, of the Vanguard, BlackRock, Investor, which is the IG Farben, American IG, Swedish IG, with new logos, more or less. Of course, with the expansion, and then we are back to the nuclear weapon, to Bekeland, the true discoverer of this, which of course died all alone in a hotel room. You have heard that 100 times, so I'm not going to repeat it. When you can control all of this, and the most important thing is to control it through the informational technology, and then we are back to the crypto AG, to Ericsson, and I see a hand.
We have a hand.
HBO.
Yes.
Yes, I see it. HBO, welcome. Nice to see you, sir. Welcome.
Welcome. I just wanted to add something. I don't know if people caught this yesterday, but Trump put out an announcement that he's going to form the American Academy, and basically that's going to be free education for Americans online, equivalent of a bachelor degree that will be accredited for all government agencies and everything. It'll put a huge dent into these massively corrupt education institutions that are just running amok. He's going to take the money.
Joe, they're called indoctrination stations. Okay.
He's gonna sue them and take the endowments away and fund the this online university. I thought that's the best news I heard in a long time.
And this they will do, because that's the core business of it. That it is. And homeschooling is going to go up with 25%, I think, as soon as the little thing with the with the debt is settled. The running amok Fed debt, the government that well, I think that will be sorted in an elegant way. Maybe Trump will sell it to Russia. Maybe Putin will buy the debt and say, well, I can buy it. You know, I have some gold here. I buy it from you. Wouldn't that be epic? What do you want in return? Well, nothing really. Just peace. Well, let's see what these boys have on the larger scale, what they have up their sleeve. I am awaiting this with with some doubts and some hopes in a mix. Very great news, HBO. But as I said, I have shared this with Trump a long time ago. He promised to fire everybody at the federal education department. He said, you can start pack your bags. He did that it's almost a year ago now. He was just saying, go yourself. I mean, really, he did. So, I mean, and now we have Elon saying, I'm going to dismantle the Stockholm bureaucracy. I'm gonna shred it to pieces because we don't need it. And he's correct. You don't need it. It's just put there. It's a control function. You don't really need all of this. You know, you don't. But on the other hand, the corporations should not either be allowed to run the business, the nefarious business that they are doing. So it's a balance thing. It's not really easy to balance it, but you know, it's quite possible. The internet right, the internet right, Bill of Internet Rights. That is something that you should keep an eye on. I can tell you that in the former Trump administration, they made, you know, the start of it and had lots of countries that were signing on to it. They were understanding that this is important. One country in the Western Hemisphere didn't sign. Oh, we're going to take a wild guess? Oh, no. Could it be Mordor? I'm just saying. So that is, of course, not coincidental. Maybe it was for the optics, but, you know, they actually couldn't, because that country is not the country. That country is the city of London. That country is the Washington, D.C. That country is the Vatican corresponding to. It's not the country. It is a corporation. You are living in a semi-corporatism since you have the Constitution. Actually, it's, you know, it's hijacked, but it's not dead. It's still alive. In the back of the car, in the trunk, the Constitution is banging, trying to kick the trunk lid open. This is the description that comes closest to mine. So the Constitution right now, it's in a bag. It's tied up. The hands are tied behind its back, but it's kicking with both its feet tied together on that fucking trunk lid to get it open. And when that one opens, oh my Lord, this is gonna be epic.
That's a really great analogy, Matt. It didn't go anywhere, and that's the most difficult thing that I think people are having a hard time grasping, because there was a substitution, a reiteration of it, but it was a false one. So it was in the appearance of the original, but it was built similar, right? It was just added onto, because it was all done fraudulently, and it was allowed to for over 150 years.
Yeah.
And this is where we're at now. So it's like, if you look back to, um you mentioned, well, I'm not going to go down that road, but I mean, really, like, the thing to keep in mind with the Internet Bill of Rights also is, when the country was formed, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights were done very succinctly for a purpose. Constitution is a contract for all the government employees. Period. End of story. The Bill of Rights was used as a template for all the American people to use against any trespass against the employees. So we have to apply that Bill of Rights. So
Yep.
when Space Force was installed in the Air Force, brought it back. It brought the Wild West of, quote, space back to, I guess, a control mechanism or factor of the Air Force, which is good. But unfortunately, like you said, the deep state kind of bagged up everything, and technically it was installed, unfortunately, under this still looming presence. So it's like we got to kind of do both at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And of course, dear listeners that have been hanging in these spaces, now it's the 1456th time or 57th, I don't know, maybe 1888 times, I don't know. I'm going to say the Constitution at that point in time was written as the best ever defense document against the Axel Oxenstierna central banking, the Stockholm bureaucracy, and the current white hand of that, which will be the East India Company. And sadly to say,
Joe, please jump in. Joe had his hand up.
oh, I can say that, but yeah, let me just finish this. And sadly to say, by the Operation Follow Curve, or, you became the East India Company for the banksters. The US became the new white hand for the banksters. So ironically enough, that is an allegory, a metaphor that actually is quite true, because who has went all around the world implementing central banks, hijacking natural resources? Just look at South America. You became the East India Company. You became the beast you once beat. It is truly, it's sort of ironic, but it's also kind of true on a large scale. I can't say the hands, but go ahead, please.
Yes, Matt. So the bankers use the education institutions to take over healthcare. The Flexner report and everything. Do you think that the education institutions also had another control mechanism for controlling the banking world?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. That is the way it works. That is the way it works. It is. Look at Rockefeller. Even the Rothschilds were involved in that, actually, in the US. So the schooling system is very, very important. But that goes from up and down. It starts at the university and then it goes downwards. So what you have today is the same that we have. You have the German school, the Prussian school. Ironically enough, it went to be, this have to happen in different when the timing is right. So in Germany, they implemented it in actually the same as soon as the constitution was hijacked as well. This is strange shit, but it is true. In 1871, they implemented as mandatory the Prussian school in Germany. That was to make the Germans. You heard me talking about this the engineering, the steering wheel analogy, the steering wheel department analogy. That is the purpose of the not knowing the full picture, not seeing the full picture. Short, straight, and simple. That was what this was called in Mordor. So you change the language for the commoners. 2,500 to 5,000 words if you just go ordinary school and not going to the universities. If you go to the universities, 25,000 to 50,000 words you will be equipped with. So it is, of course, intentional.
Luke has his hand up. Good, Luke.
Welcome, Luke.
I'm just going downstairs where I can give you a huge update about high-level government corruption in America. But if you can you please play me at Coconino County Board of Supervisors yesterday, absolutely exposing how the government over there makes it so that all judges have to be left-wing and left-hand path. I found something really huge.
Sounds exciting. I guess that Soros has his hands in the judges. He has all over the US, and he is a true and true common denominator asset, a Wallenberg asset, and he has been so from when he was a young boy in Budapest a long time ago. A long time ago. He has two men he admires. That is Raoul Wallenberg and his own father. That's it. That is his own words. I'm just quoting him. This is Soros. And his handler is Daniel Sachs, married into the Wallenberg family. This is what the big accounts will not tell you because they are too afraid. They are too comfy. They have too much money. They have a too nice life. They have, maybe they are blackmailed. I don't know, but they will not tell you. Or they are simply ignorant. I don't know, but they still will not tell. And this is the obvious stuff. This is the easy stuff. It's a low-hanging fruit. Just look at Obama and the Nobel Prize. Where did he go? Who was he hanging out with prior to his presidency as well? In Sweden. Where did he take his orders from, and so on? And with that said, don't you find it a little bit amusing that they did the coup putting Kamala? Of course, Obama is behind that, the storm. Don't you think it's a little bit strange? I don't know. I don't consider Obama being maybe the smartest guy in the room, but for sure he's not he's not stupid at all. He is, pretty smart, I would say. Maybe he's very smart. It's hard to tell because he's just acting so much. So why did he do that? It was not a winning move. He would have realized that was not a winning move. So why did he do that? Did he get orders? And from who? Whom did he get those orders? because for sure that was not it was the poorest choice. And of course, she was set up as VP already prior to that to do exactly what they did. And then they go for mouth to mouth, word salad, Kamala, which of course has no charisma to be a president at all. So it was a given. It was a given. But why did Obama do that? That is my question. I don't care about Kamala, but why did Obama? Why did he set her up as VP and then as presidential candidate? I mean, come on. Would you, if you had the power of Obama, would you, of all the people, I mean, even Newsom, whatever, would have been, had a fairly good chance of but instead, Kamala, with the coup d'etat, with inside the party at least. Well, it's a coup. It's not a coup d'etat. It's a coup with inside the party. If we look at it from that kind of angle, I think it's pretty obvious. Actually, I'm telling the obvious here. I think, but I'm not sure. What do you say, Jon? Is this obvious, or is it just me being, speculative? For me, it's a fact.
It's blatant.
Yeah, thank you. So, guys, I was thinking about that with the Constitution, and a song popped up. We played it the other day, some a week ago or so. It is a song called "Dead Man Walking." So, Guru is up. Well, let's.
Okay, I'm back in position, Trisha. I've gone out of my house so I can tell you the latest to a minute, detailed space and have me totally flood the jumbotrons with receipts for everything I say as I go. It's good. If you want to catch up right now, I broke it down.
All right, hey, Luke, listen, listen. I appreciate all the information, and obviously, a lot of it is massive if true, and
it is true. As God's my witness.
Hold on, buddy. Hold on. So we were kind of going over a lot of different information in the space here before you came in. So, just to be respectful of the hosts and the co-hosts and the space and everything. So drop any information you have in the purple pill. You're welcome to do that.
I'll do a space with good.
Please don't interrupt, Luke. Just listen. Okay. Be respectful of the space. Okay. And try not to just hop in and hijack it. So that's all I'm asking. Okay. And
sorry, I didn't know being against the whole COVID tyranny was hijacking, but cool. I'll tone it down.
It's absolutely not.
That's not the
send
case.
me, Trisha, send me an email address and I'll tell you what the government.
That's not the point,
Dude,
Luke.
I'm asking you to be respectful. Look at my timeline, and you would actually know a little bit.
I'll just ban me and get it over and done with. Bye.
Wow. Okay, so you
There's
just
a
want
short network of disinfo.
You just want to keep interrupting and keep jaw-jacking instead of actually listening to what I was about to say. Because if you would take any time to look at my timeline and know the people that I've been involved with, including working with Lindsay RN, who's actually in this space right now, who is quite frankly on the forefront of this death cult that you're speaking to, you would actually, and just shut up and listen for a second, you would actually know that the people in this space are very involved and more so than you could ever imagine. So put your shit in the pill, okay, and be respectful is what I'm asking. I removed him from speaker. We don't need that nonsense. Sorry about that, Mont.
I think we lost Mont. Let me DM him and see where he is.
The thing is, I mean, we're all on the forefront of different things, and we're all trying to do our part. So it's just, for the love of God, I mean, don't come ramrodding into a space that I don't recall seeing you in this space ever, quite frankly. And if you were, I apologize, but definitely didn't hear you speak. And for all the spaces that we've held, never ever really heard of you before. So, I mean, that's being respectful of the space, is all I'm asking. Where did Mott leave or what, Tish?
I just DM'd him. No, exactly. There's we're covering, something very specific in the title, and that's why I DM'd you. If you want to talk about that, we'll do it. We'll do it, at another time in another space. This is very specific to the discussion we were having. Go ahead, Patrick. I just DM'd
I
Mott.
was
We'll see
just
if he'll
gonna
come back.
say, yeah, what Luke was saying sounded super interesting, and accusations about people, that's dangerous territory. But I mean, I was interested in hearing more. But like John was saying, man, just don't take over the space. Like, the people want to hear it, though they're listening. But when you talk over them, it's kind of disrespectful. I don't get why people do that. If you really want to get your message out there, have the conversation and engage people. That's how you really get somewhere. If you really want to, if you're serious about it. That's
Right.
just
Yeah.
my thoughts.
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you, Patrick.
So yeah, Luke, I'm not going to bring you up, man. So if you want to drop anything in there, if you want to DM us and be respectful and go about this in a not just respectful, but in a way that actually is smart and makes sense, we can do a space. We can put our resources together, which I guarantee you, if you do this the right way and not just ramrodding into an X space, I mean, we can actually collaborate and do things and really take some systems down. But that would involve you paying attention and not being freaking bowling in China shop right now. So, anyways, moving on. Mott, sorry about that. Glad to see you back.
Yeah. I've been listening. I have several units, So, anyways, I was going for the song of the Constitution. It popped up, being in the trunk, kicking. So, and it's way past midnight in Mordor. So we are, anyways, we are, we are on, this space has 2 hours of Axel Oxenstierna. It's more than we need. Just rambling on about him. Thank you, Peter, for Peter actually put in a purple pill a beautiful little movie with Axel out of Mordor. The world is an amazing place. Actually, there is a statue, the warrior king of the north, the most famous of them. In one of the castles, there is a statue. There, one of the few statues, actually. There are a couple, where Axel Oxenstierna is standing with his king. So Axel Oxenstierna is standing, having his sword on the side, and the king is sitting on a chair, the warrior king, unarmed, with Axel's arm over his shoulders. And he said that himself, the warrior king. He said, Axel, I would be nothing without you. It is in writing, even so. Amazingly enough. So, right now, the Constitution is a dead man walking. And I think we finish up with that one because it is amazing song. It's quite strange, so you have to bear with it a bit. With that said, no further ado.
So sail away through the oceans of people. The river of blood is dried out. Let's line up the sinners and send them to hell. There's a man in that line you know well. In the silence of the rain, there's a sound from his chain, but he knew where he'd go and they found her. Oh my Lord, if you can hear, there's a man that you fear, and he's coming your way as a gunner. So bring your stones and you can judge him tomorrow. Let's get you a river of blood. Smile on the people when they are looking at you. There's a devil in all of them too. In the silence of the rain, there's a sound from his chain, but he knew where he'd go and they found her. Oh my Lord, if you can hear, there's a man that you fear, and he's coming your way as a gunner. And he lost all the way, cause he's dying today. It's a part of his plan, dying. That's a dead man walking around you in the city with no one do. In the city with no one you. There's a dead man. In the silence of the rain, there's a sound from his chain, but he knew where he'd go and they found her. Oh my Lord, if you can hear, there's a man that you fear, and he's coming your way as a gunner. In the silence of the rain, there's a sound from his chain, but he knew where he'd go and they found her. Oh my Lord, if you can hear, there's a man that you fear, and he's coming your way as a gunner. In the silence of the rain, there's a sound from his chain, but he knew where he'd go and they found her. Oh my Lord, if you can hear, there's a man that you fear, and he's coming your way as a gunner. Yes,
The last words. In the end of the road, in the end of it all, there's a man who will run through that wall. Normy, signing off.
God bless everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good night. Take care, everybody. See you on the flip side.
God bless. Good night.